Hey guys, here's a tutorial video. This is gonna go so well. This past summer, it was summer, right? I went to the New Jersey Ren Fair as my cleric tiefling, Beatrice Bumble, and I wanted to make a tail for her. So I figured out a way to do it with old cosplay parts that I never use anymore. So ages ago, I cosplayed Catwoman ages ago, and it came with a whip, but now I never use said whip. And granted, it started falling apart after a little bit. Like the ends just were kind of frayed and was just coming, the braid was coming undone, and there was no point of me keeping it anymore. So at one point, I kind of put it against myself and kind of somewhat measured my height. I tried to see how, because I wanted the tail to drag a little bit, but not too much. I didn't want it to drag on the floor and track dirt, but I wanted it to have good length in general. So to keep said length measured for myself, I grabbed two bobby pins and just had a dream. Before I get started into the technical stuff here, I heavily, heavily agree with using old cosplays for newer cosplay stuff, just because that you don't need to buy new things for every single cosplay. Like, some things I can understand, but like for myself, I now can't justify buying something for a cosplay without like justifying it for myself. Like now I'm like, well, if I buy these pants, I could also use it for this character and also this character. Oh, if I buy this wig, I could use it for this character and this character. Always okay to use normal clothes for cosplay. It's always okay to it's always okay to rewear cosplays for cons and for like personal festivals and stuff. It's always okay. And it's of course always okay to use like how I am here with this whip, to create this whip into a tiefling tail. Beatrice Bumble is a tiefling. She is a yellow tiefling because I say so. She is a cleric. She is a cleric of the forest, and she was heavily inspired by Caduceus Clay, hence why her name is Beatrice Bumble. And she also comes from a large family and is also very much like understanding that death needs to happen. I love her. She's one of my favorite tieflings that I've played. So after I measured it, I kind of, like you can see here in this footage, that I was keeping it together barely with a ponytail. I wanted to keep the rest, and I thought the texture of it is perfect for a tail too. Like, it's already kind of squishy. And also at Spirit Halloween, I saw that they were selling whips. So if you wanted to be like, oh, I'll also create a whip, tail whip. I'm very tired. I've been doing schoolwork all day. So my first thought was like, maybe I could spray paint it or something, but spray paint, I don't know how well it would have stayed on leather, and I was kind of crunching for time for the Ren Fair, at least for myself. And I didn't really have time to research if spray paint was going to stay on leather the way I wanted it to, because I was going to use this for another yellow tiefling that I have named Dove, and I love her very much. She's very pretty. So let's get into it. My mother wanted to watch the penguin, so we watched the penguin because it's very good. If you have, this is not sponsored. How do I do this? Watch the penguin. It is so good. Oh my gosh. Anyway. So what we did, I hope this is working. So what I did was I had some yellow ribbon that I had bought ages ago for this idea. So I bought that. I cut off the length. Oh my gosh, I cut it off. I saved the rest of it just in case. And I just kind of haphazardly wrapped it around because it was kind of perfect size for that. It took some time, and I took off all of the leather. I remember that being like an impulsive decision to just take off all of the leather. I can't remember what I did with it, but it just made wrapping around the whip just so much easier. And then over time, I did run out of super glue because we had none, so I went over to Michael's and I got some. Yeah. I then cut triangles out of the ribbon, cut a triangle out of the piece of cardboard that I was using, and cut like hot glued it to the tail that I was making. Listen, it worked. It eventually worked. Use some of the leather pieces to do a little like tail jewelry, and it made it kind of like come together. I used the little bits of leather that I pulled off the whip to be like a little bracelet for the tail. I then put it on to see how it worked. I used a belt. Excuse me. I used a belt to kind of like put the loop of the handle of the whip, and I put that around my waist, and then I wore it, and it heckin' worked. It worked great. I then tested it with said cosplay, and it worked because I couldn't get to the handle in time. So I couldn't get to the handle in time for the Ren Fair. So it was just good to have the tail be hidden under the skirt. Anybody who's an eagle eye could have seen it. So yeah, that's what I did for the tail. It is a very like simple and easy way to do this. I know there are better ways to do it, but this is the way that I could do it with the amount of money that I have in my bank account. And it was just easy for me because I don't really have a lot of sewing practice, but I do have hot glue and a dream. So hot glue, ribbon, bobby pins, and a dream. So, and it worked. It really worked. And it still is a good tail to this day. I just haven't had another chance to wear it. But unlike Pate, rest in peace, my little prop, it hasn't fallen apart yet. And it was very easy to make. It took like a day's work at least. A day's work and a lot of back pain. That's how I made Beatrice Bumble's tail. I would definitely like to point out that I did just finish watching The Penguin, and Gotham takes place in New Jersey. And I am fighting for my life over here to not speak in a Brooklyn accent. It is very hard for someone who hears an accent and just immediately just goes right into it. I don't know why I do this. Should I start an ASMR channel with how close I'm talking to this mic? No, I shouldn't.